I was just finishing a bike ride in the woods, the usual way I found some peace. When I got home, I took my pants off right by the door. Melinda, my wife, was standing inside, just staring at me. No words. She just walked off to her room. We live in Louisiana with our daughter, Trixie. We needed a babysitter because we were going to a friend's party. Later, Melinda asked me to help her pick a dress.
At the party, things went sour fast. Melinda left me and went straight to a young man named Joel, calling him a close friend. They quickly went to the backyard. I saw them kissing. I tried to act like I didn't care when my friend Mary warned me about Melinda and Joel. I told her it was fine. Melinda even made fun of me, calling me boring as we passed by. She was being openly romantic with Joel in front of everyone. Later, while Melinda was singing and playing piano for the guests, Joel came over to chat. He thanked me for letting him be close with Melinda. That's when I decided to mess with him. I told him a story about another guy Melinda dated, Martin, who had gone missing a month ago. I made a joke, saying I killed Martin with a hammer. Joel's face went white. I quickly said it was just a joke, but he believed me. He looked scared and left soon after saying goodbye to Melinda. Melinda noticed how upset he was. After the party, she demanded to know what I'd said to him. I lied and said nothing. When we got home, I went to my room, where I keep and grow snails. Watching them helped me feel calm.
The next morning, Melinda was talking to Trixie in the kitchen. She joked that Trixie would become a bomb maker like her father. Trixie corrected her. I used to make chips for military drones, but I quit my job because we had enough money. I wanted to spend my time cycling and being with friends. When I dropped Trixie off at school, a friend called me a murderer. News of my joke to Joel had spread. My other close friends questioned me and told me to control Melinda instead of scaring her friends. Melinda finally found out about the joke and was furious that I joked about Martin being gone. To fix things, she forced me to invite Joel for dinner so I could apologize. The dinner was very tense. Melinda suggested I should have acted normal, but I shot back that if she wanted normal, she wouldn't have invited him. The fight got heated, and she sent Trixie to bed, asking me to read her a story. After Trixie fell asleep, I left her room and heard Melinda and Joel making out downstairs. It really hurt me. Later, I went to Joel and apologized for the joke. But then I couldn't help myself. I kept telling the story of how I killed Martin with the hammer. Then I made a new joke, a threat, telling Joel to leave before I lost my temper and did the same to him. We went to another party where I met a writer named Don Wilson who wrote about crazy ideas. Don didn't like me when he heard I used to make drone parts. He openly accused me of killing Martin, not knowing it was just a joke I'd made up to scare Joel. I was surprised when I asked Don's wife, Kelly, to dance. I'm usually quiet and stiff. On the way home, I told Melinda that Kelly was attractive and fun to talk to. Melinda got jealous. She needed to prove she was still the best, and she did, touching me intimately and getting me excited. She said she'd rather die than hear me praise Kelly. We went to the bedroom, and things got intense. The next day, I got a call from the bank. Melinda had sent $33,000 to a guy named Charles for piano lessons. I quickly found out where Charles worked, a restaurant, and went there. Melinda was there looking very interested in him. I thought he was her new boyfriend. Back home, I was shocked to find her wedding ring in the sink. Then I saw on the news that Martin's body was found. He died from a head injury. I told Melinda, who was drunk from her dinner with Charles. She looked shocked. The next morning, I bought Trixie a new dog. On my way home, I saw Charles with a bunch of flowers, clearly for Melinda. I found them on the table when I got in, and I threw them in the trash. I met a friend and told him everything, how Melinda had a new man, Charles, but that I was still holding on to our marriage even though I was in pain. Later, I was in my garden and imagined Melinda and Charles kissing in a car without a single thought from me. The next day, I waited all morning. Melinda hadn't come home, planning to be angry when she got back. When she finally arrived, I snapped. I asked her where she'd been and about the money she gave Charles. My patience was gone. I yelled at her to end the affair. She just seemed to ignore me. We went to another party where Charles was playing the piano. Melinda showed him off and he was a hit, but I watched them the whole time, seeing them get closer. I found out Melinda was upstairs. I saw her and Charles leave a room and head to the pool. They started kissing in the water, in front of everyone, not caring that I was there. Suddenly, it rained hard, and everyone but Charles and I got out of the pool. I went up to him with pure hatred. I don't know exactly what happened, but I killed Charles right there. I went back to the party like nothing happened. Charles's body floated to the surface. Melinda looked for him, then screamed when she saw him in the pool. Everyone rushed to help. We pulled him out, but the floor was wet. His body slipped and his head hit the pool edge. He was dead. The police came. Melinda quickly pointed at me and said I did it, but everyone else said it was an accident from hitting his head on the side of the pool. Dawn, though, thought Charles might have died in the water first, with no real proof. The police called it an accident and closed the case. Melinda and I went home. She got her coffee, acting like it was any other day. I asked her if we should get divorced or if she was scared of me. She smiled and said no. She didn't want to split up and she wasn't scared. She even said she knew I did it for her. A few days later, I was back on my bike, but I felt like someone was watching me. When I dropped Trixie off at school, Kelly came up to me. She said her husband, Don, thought I killed Charles and had even been talking to Melinda. I decided to invite Don and Kelly for dinner so I could talk to him alone. At dinner, I told Don to stop spreading rumors. He wouldn't back down. He still believed I was the killer and even brought up Martin's death again. The next day, I thought a car was following me. I found it parked at a restaurant and saw a camera inside. I walked in and saw Melinda with the car's owner, a man named David. He said he was a psychologist. I didn't believe him. I thought he was a private investigator hired by Dawn and Melinda. I went straight to Dawn's house and showed him a copy of Melinda's bank transfer to his account. I told him he had crossed a line by getting involved in my life. Kelly was angry and embarrassed. Later, I saw Melinda with a new man and secretly followed them. That night, while I was giving Trixie a bath, she looked at me and casually said she knew I killed Charles. I told her to never tell anyone. The next day, I invited Melinda's new boyfriend over, only to realize he was her ex-boyfriend, Tony. Melinda was awful. She told me Tony was the first American guy she'd slept with. Then they started touching each other right in front of me with no shame. One day, I saw Tony walking. I lied and told him Melinda was waiting for him at a house we were buying. He believed me and got in the car. I drove him to an empty woods near the river where I often cycled. I drove to the edge of a steep drop and stopped. When Tony got out, I hit him on the head with a rock. Then I picked up a bigger one and threw it, and he fell into the ravine, hitting his head on a rock and dying right away. I dragged Tony's body to the river, took his wallet, and tied a big rock to him to keep him under the water. I went home and even raised the glass with Trixie. A day later, I took my family for a picnic at the same place. I gave Melinda a photo album with a loving message from me on the last page. Our relationship got a little better. Sometime later, I saw Tony's body floating near the riverbank. I rushed my family home. Melinda forgot her favorite scarf and wanted to go back. I told her I would go alone. I hurried back to the woods to hide Tony's body, but I couldn't keep it under the water. Meanwhile, Melinda went into my snail room and found Tony's wallet. She knew I killed him. She called Don and told him I was in the forest. Don suddenly showed up with Melinda's scarf, which he found by the river. He saw Tony's hand floating in the water and started to run. He got into his car, trying to call the police, but his phone slipped. I had to stop him. I chased him, used a shortcut to get in front of him, and blocked his car. He crashed into a cliff and died. After all the terrible things, I got back on my bike. When I got home, Melinda smiled at me, then walked away without a word. Inside, she was burning Tony's wallet and ID.